playing and I'm just in the moment of just sitting and playing, there's a lot of freedom in my head. And melodies, I love when I just play and the first thing that comes to mind just comes out, you know, and it's very liberating. I was very young when I first kind of woke up to music. I think I was like 4 or 5. I remember I walked up to a piano and I hit a note and music just became clear to me, you know, the process of creating music. When I was about 7 or 8, I think, I saw a young boy playing the guitar in my school. And I walked into the auditorium and I don't know, he was like 9 or 10. When you're 7 or 8, somebody that's 9 or 10 is like a god, especially if they have a guitar. That was a very powerful moment. It was like a moment of clarity because I just saw it and everything kind of went away. I just saw this guitar hanging off of this young kid and immediately fell in love with it. I just instinctively understood what it was. It was like it was always there, but I didn't find it until then. And as soon as I saw the instrument, there was an immediate connection. When I was 12, my sister came home with Led Zeppelin II. And the moment that I heard Heartbreaker, the fantasy of playing the guitar, it switched from wishing that I had a guitar to desiring to play one to right at that moment when I heard that, the intention was solid. I said, I'm going to play the guitar. And I had a friend that had a guitar that he never played, and it was one of those Tesco Del Reys, you know. And it was hanging on the wall in his bedroom, and I bought it for $5, and that was it. I mean, that guitar, I did everything with it. You know, they say, oh, I used to sleep with my guitar. Every night it was in the bed. But I'm not really natural at playing an instrument, oddly enough. I had to work really hard at the guitar. There was a music store in Roosevelt Field, which was the big mall at the time where I lived, and it was called Matthews Music, and I would just go in there and drool, you know, just oogle at all the guitars and all the little accessories and everything. And I was 12 years old, you know, and that's when I bought my first pack of strings, and they were Ernie Ball strings. There were certain things that always represented the higher quality things in the business. A Les Paul, a Strat, DiMarzio pickups, you know what I mean? As a kid, that's like those things have a mystique. And Ernie Ball strings was at the top of that because they were just cool, you know? There was something about them. So that's what I bought. And they were expensive for me because they weren't cheap strings, but I got them anyway. You know, I would save and I'd get them. And the first time I got them, I didn't even know how to put them on. I took them to Joe Satriani and he showed me how to do it. The gauges haven't really changed. I'm basically a 9 through 42 guy. Sometimes I go heavier on the low end. It's based on how long I've been on tour. Because you can sit and play in this, you know, in your room all day, but when you hit the deck, everything changes, just the way you play. So after a little while, my fingers get real strong. They get more powerful when I'm on tour. So I like to have a little more fight. So I might move to some heavier lower ends, but I usually stay at the 9s on the top. When you're a musician, or in any field, there's two basic levels of understanding and creating your craft. One of them is the technical side, the technique. And in any field, there's a period where you have to kind of own up and get some technique. Now, for someone like Allan Holdsworth, his desire for having a particular technique to get his point across was different than Kurt Cobain's. They're both valid because they're both individuals that have a particular message. So there's the technical side, and for a musician, a guitar player, it could be years of honing your craft to get the technical side together. But then at some point you have to go deeper than the technique. You know, you have to get in touch with your instincts, your musical instincts. And people say someone like Kurt Cobain wasn't a great guitar player. Well, was he a virtuoso guitar player? You can argue not. But was he effective? Try to play like Kurt Cobain. It's not that easy, you know, or Billy Joe Armstrong. I mean, you ever see him play? It's visceral. Every note in every chord pops. Do you know what I mean? It sounds like a giant orchestra. That's hard to do, but it was in his head. And he required a particular technique, amount of technique, to follow what he was hearing in his head. For someone like myself, I wanted it all. You know, I wanted effortless, what seemed almost infinite technique, you know. I still work on it every day. And I wanted the deeper, I wanted the melody. So for me, it required a lot of technique. I never made a decision to be a musician. Do you know what I mean? Because if there was a situation where I was going to make a decision, that would have meant there was an option. And I never felt like there was an option. Everything that has come to me in my career really came to me. You know, I didn't go out and look. All I did was follow the one thing that was most thrilling and exciting to me, and that was creating music when a new idea came up. No concern about the future, really. And the future took care of itself beautifully, better than I could have ever possibly orchestrated it. Find what you love and throw yourself into it, and the rest will take care of itself. Now, I know that sounds cliche and almost impossible to believe, but that's what happened to me. And like I say, it doesn't mean that you don't go out and kind of put your feelers out for things you'd like to do. But frankly, nothing that I looked to do, except for the music, ever really turned out with as much of a surprise and a delight in it as the stuff that just came seemingly out of nowhere. One of the greatest fulfillments that you can experience is when you touch your creative side and whatever you bring into the world is enjoyable for you. That's very fulfilling. So the guitar has been that for me. Other things too, but the guitar most of all. I've always viewed it as an instrument of infinite creative expression.